How's it going, everybody? It is Dennis and we're back with another video, and today we're going to be going over how much I've earned from dividend income for the month of September. As always, it's the end of the month. We're going to go over it. We're going to go over every single dividend I received, every single transaction I did. We're going to go over which ETFs paid how much, which week paid how much, and all that jazz. As always, we do this every single month. At the end of every month, if you're new to this channel, we go over my portfolio and the income I earned from it. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. Starting with September, the first dividend we received was from Stag, which paid us $4.50, or sorry, $4.05. Great start. I wish it was 50 cents, but $4.05 is what we got paid from Stag. Of course, as always, I like to mention these beginning ones, and some of these ETFs you'll see on my portfolio are not all high yielding ETFs. These are just ETFs I've been holding for a while, and they do make up a little bit of my portfolio, so I do just continue to have them as a little safety in my portfolio. We have Maine that paid me $11.98. Then we move on to YieldMax ETFs, which of course are the high paying ones. We have APLY, which paid me $96.42. We have TSLY that paid me $308.79. We have AMZY that paid me $188.96. And we have GOOY that paid me $100.33. And we have YMAX that paid $134.90. Of course, if we take a look at the chart, we could see that TSLY paid us $308.79 from our 377 shares. So the dividend per share did drop, since we did have 364 last month of shares and we have 377, so more shares but still lower dividend. And that is because, of course, the dividend per share for this month was $81.86. With AMZY, we saw that we got paid $188.96, and that is because, once again, the dividends per share went up. So 288 shares is how much we had, and 65.61 is how much we got paid out. Now looking at APLY, with APLY we saw $96.42. It went up as well, and the reason is what it went up is not because of share count alone, but because dividends per share was increased as well, earning us 45.25 cents per share from the 213 shares that I own. We also have GOOY, which is still at $100 mark. It did go down from the previous month, even though we did add a bunch of shares into GOOY. And the reason we added a bunch of shares because it was under the 50 and the 200-day moving average. So I decided to go all into GOOY, and it kind of didn't pay off for the moment, of course. So 280 shares is how much we have of GOOY currently. We see that went up from the 228 we had before. And we got a dividend per share of $35.77, which gave us a total of $100.33. And of course, we have, last or not least, from the YieldMax pot, we have a YMAX, which paid me $134.90 from the 300 shares I own, at a total of $44.90. And you might be wondering, why is it so low for this month? Weren't you estimating it to be higher? If you watched my previous month's review, you would know I was estimating for it to be in the $900 mark for total dividends earned from YieldMax, and I was expecting YMAX to be a little bit higher than the 168 from last month. But the reason we were at $44.90 per share was because, of course, YMAX has switched over to weekly paying dividends now. And because it switched over to weekly paying dividends, we did miss week 1 and week 2. They took this month's payments and they're now splitting into week 3, week 4 of September, which is what we see now on my sheet. And then week 1 and week 2 of October is what they're going to be distributing this month's dividends for. That is because they have to set up the new distribution schedule that they will be having, where they have Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D. And because they can't pay you instantly from Group A, they would have to pay Group A the following week. They would have to pay Group B for YMAX the next week after and the next week after. And to do that, they need to set up a set of income coming in. And that's why they took September's income that we earned from all our dividend paying ETFs, and that we were supposed to get paid out in YMAX, and they are now splitting it equally upon 4 weeks to set them up for that payment schedule. It might not even be a 4-week. I think it's going to be a 3-week split, because I believe 22, we're probably going to get another 22, which will make up to what we got last month of around 60. Or that's going to be around, what is that, 66 dividend per share. So I don't think they're going to do 22-22. If they do 22-22, that'll be quite interesting. But I think our September dividends are going to be split into week 3, week 4, and week 1 of October. But of course, this is the new graph that we're going to have for YMAX. Since YMAX is switching to weekly, we're going to track it weekly as well. And you guys will see these updates, of course, every single month, as you are right now. So $68.20 is what we got for week 3 from YMAX, and $66.70 is what we got from week 4 of YMAX. Both pretty similar, $22.70 and $22.20. I did not reinvest the $68.20. As you can see, the share count stayed the same because I just did not see the opportunity to do so. And I used that money to go ahead and invest into other things. So that is the YieldMax funds. Let's go ahead and go back to our monthly income. So we went over to YieldMax funds. Let's continue down to where we see YMAX, of course, was our last one. Now EFC, another minimal paying ETF, dividend ETF, paid us $16.46. As you can see, it continues to grow. We have DHS that paid me $15.80, which is a little bit lower. We have SCHH, which paid me $4.93. And of course, we have QDTE that paid me $165.38 for the month of September. And we can take a look at the graph of what our payments were. We did underperform compared to last month by negative 30.65%. And we did outperform for 3 of the weeks. Of course, for the week 1 of September, we outperformed the last week, and that is because we also did add shares. So we went from 105 shares to 126 shares, which got us $41.75 with a $32.94 dividend per share. Week 2, we added to 136, so we added 10 plus shares on top of that, and that paid us $44.56 per share of a total of $60.96, which gave us a 45.99% increase. For week 3, once again, 138, we added a little bit of 2 shares into it, and we got a low payment of $19.53, and $27.01 was our total. And of course, for this last week of September, again, 138. Didn't really reinvest. I only reinvested the dividend back into it, so wasn't really able to buy a total share. But we got a $25.67 payment, so we're going back up what it is, as it seems like. And our total was $35.66, beating last week's payment by 32.05%. And of course, the week before we were down by 55.70% compared to the previous week. So that leaves us at negative 30.65% compared to last month, where we had $238.47 earned. Of course, we had high yielding dividends payments that month of 56, 51, and also we had 5 weeks of payments rather than 4. And that leaves us with a total of $165.38. So now that concludes our dividend segment of how much we earned from dividends, and our total for dividends earned for September is $1,048. Of course, it is lower than previous month, $1,182, but we did have the YMAX change. Of course, we had YieldMax changes where, the dividends are going to be paid in different times, and of course, YMAX didn't pay its full amount for September. So of course, the YMAX payment being a little bit lower than expected did lower $1,048 from the $1,182, which I did expect would probably be the same as the last month. We also didn't have a payment from HTGC. We didn't have a payment from OHI. And also we didn't have any payments from, of course, SCHH, RITM. Of course, I'm pretty sure SCHH I sold out of. Don't quote me on that. No, actually I did not. I sold out SPHD. So we didn't have an SCHH payment. We didn't have an RITM payment. No TSLY payment. But we're still at $1,048, even beating the month that had all those payments coming in from all those different ETFs. We still beat that month, but we did underperform the month prior of August. But still, not too shabby. Over $1,000. Good dividend income coming in and continues to grow. We added more shares. We added more positions. We're going to see how that goes for the next month of October, where YieldMax should now be nice and set on their distribution schedule and paying us our full amount for that month. Moving on, of course, to options income. So you might be seeing RIOT doesn't have a trade for the month of September. Why does RIOT not have a trade for the month of September? Well, I did not take a trade for the month of September on RIOT. The reason I did not do so is because, of course, I'm switching back to weekly strategies for RIOT. I think weekly strategies offer way more premium than the monthly strategies at this point for RIOT. I think the volatility for the monthly strategies has fallen for RIOT. So I'm going to start going back to weekly strategies for RIOT. As you can see, it has begun going down and down and down. We were running monthlies once again for RIOT. We're doing 919, 790, 893, 728. This is where I bought back some of my positions. And after that, we went down to 405. And if I was to take the trade that I was offered for the next month, if I was to take that trade for the September month, it would only been $250, which is a trade I would not want to take. So we're leaving the position open. Of course, I'm allowing it to run up as well. The value of RIOT is going back up towards the $8 mark with the Bitcoin run that we're having so far. So we're going to let RIOT run. I'm going to let Ryan get some value back on the shares and then start trading in October on a weekly basis to see if I could get past this $400 mark, if I could get to maybe the $500, $600 mark by trading aggressively weekly. So that's blank for the month of September. No income coming from RIOT for the month of September. But for TNA, we have $1,315 earned from TNA. And of course, once again, it is lower than $1,839 of last month and $1,534 of the month before. And the reason for this, of course, is because it's September. Stocks are not doing the best in September. We are having a run, but that run does not help me when it comes to earning income from contracts. The reason is because I have to move the contracts. When you move contracts up, you do have to pay or get less of a premium. So I have been moving my contracts upwards, meaning I've been getting less premium, but I still was able to achieve $1,315 earned, even with that lower premium of moving my contracts up. Hopefully in October, the Russell 2000 stays the same, meaning there's no growth in the underlying of what I'm holding, which is the IWM. And of course, hopefully stays the same, or in this case, TNA. Hopefully there's no movement in TNA, which is 3 times leverage IWM or Russell 2000. But hopefully there's less movement in TNA for the month of October, so I could get higher premiums, stable premiums. If I'm able to get stable premiums, we're earning somewhere around $500 a week. At some points, you know, we're getting trades. I have 6 contracts that usually gets me from anywhere from $250 to $400 a week. And then I have another 3 contracts that get me anywhere from $100 to $150 a week. And that together brings me around $500, $600 a week, which in a, of course, in a month ends up being anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 earned. So it could be at that point if everything stays stable. Of course, that's not how the market moves. As we could see in September, $1,315 is how much I earned because the market moved upwards and I had to match with it so I don't lose out of my position. I don't want to lose my my lower options, which is my buy options, my buy calls. Of course, I'm running the Poorman call strategy, if you guys did not know. So I do not want to lose my lower position because, quite frankly, I have a really good position currently. I have $34 calls on TNA, which have a really good delta. So I do not want to lose that. So I'm willing to get less premium and move upwards than closing the position in total and then having to buy back once again for another call option. So $1,315 is how much we've earned from TNA. And of course, since that's the only contract that options income that we earn for the month, our total is $1,315 for the total from just options. Of course, if you could do the math in your head or you have a calculator by you, could do the math right now. $1,048 from the dividends, $1,315 from options gets us a total for September of $2,363 earned for the month of September. Not too shabby, above the $2,000 mark, so that's more than makes me more than happy. It is lower than the previous 2 months of $2,601 when it comes to July, and of course August of $3,426.19. But of course July was just, or not July, August was just a great month when it came to dividend income from, or not dividend, from option income from TNA. Came in with $1,839, and then RIOT came out with a $405. So just from options alone last month, we made $2,244, which almost beats this month's total income. But of course, this happens. Like I said, options trades are tricky. You have to move your trades up sometimes. Sometimes premiums are not as high as expected. But $2,363 is not too shabby. I don't mind it. It's still over $2,000 mark. We're still going to be growing. We've had this before where we had months that were lower than others. As you guys could go back, we had 2,400, 1,075. We started going down. We were down to 1,611 at one point, and then we started going back up. And of course, now we're trending back upwards. Of course, low months are obviously will always happen. Dividends are continuing to increase, so that's most important. I'm funneling a lot of money into dividends, and the reason I'm funneling a lot of money into dividends currently, or dividend income, is because I'm taking all these options I'm earning and I'm throwing them into my dividend portfolio or dividend section of my portfolio. And that is because I want to get my dividend income per month up to roughly $1,500 to $2,000 a month made with no work done. And the reason I want to do that is because if I'm able to get either from $1,500 to $2,000 a month just from dividends, I could take that income and throw it into my option strategy. Each contract that I currently own for TNA, the underlying is roughly, the purchase the contract is roughly $1,500 to $2,000. So for me to be able to buy a contract every single month and increase the speed of my growth of my portfolio, I would have to be earning around $1,500 to $2,000 a month from dividends alone. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking these dividends, I'm reinvesting. I'm reinvesting into QDTE, I'm reinvesting into TSLY, AMZY, APLY, GOOY, YMAX. I've actually have a new investment that I've made in YieldMax ETFs. Since they have a new distribution schedule, I decided to invest into some different groups. Won't be telling just yet what group I've invested into. It's still a small position, so I still want to grow it a little bit more, at least up to 100 shares before I reveal it to you guys. But you guys can make your guesses on what that position is. It is in Group C, I'm pretty sure, is where that ETF is in. But I did make another investment into another YieldMax ETF, and I do think it has a bright future. So investing into my dividend portfolio or into my dividend ETFs, hopefully it gets up to $1,500 or $2,000. So then we could begin to buy contracts every single month. And with those contracts, we increase the amount of options income we get from TNA. And not only TNA, but I'm looking to go ahead and move into other sectors of the market. So maybe I'm going to get into a leverage S&P 500 ETF or a leverage QQQ ETF. So we'll have to see where that goes. Or maybe I'll start trading basic stocks like, you know, Apple, Amazon, all that good stuff. Maybe even Intel at its low currently. So that's going to be very interesting to see. We're going to see where this goes. Of course, it's just a low month. It's pretty much to be expected. I think I called it last month as well, saying that September is probably going to be a low month, especially after such a great return from TNA the previous month. Because, of course, the reason I got that such a great return is because I lowered my contracts when it came to selling the calls. I lowered the contracts down to get more premium. And of course, in effect, that causes the next month to be a little bit more difficult. If TNA goes back up, I then have to move my contracts up as I explained before. But anyways, that is for the month of September. That is the income I have earned. $2,363 is how much I've earned for the month of September. Once again, hopefully TNA stays stable for October. We're able to get those good trades every single week, $300, $400 a week just from 6 contracts. In total, maybe $500 to $600 a week. So we could get to $2,000 earned from TNA alone, and that'll boost up the portfolio tremendously. Hopefully the RIOT trades do good as well. I'm looking around at my contracts currently for the next trade for next week. I'm looking at my contracts, the trades I could do, and the trades I'm seeing right now are roughly around the $150 to $200 mark weekly, and it's around the 80% probability of being profitable. So that's safe enough for me. So if I'm able to get those trades of $150 to $200, that means by the end of the month, say I do 4 trades a month, or I'm able to get around $800 or maybe around even $600 to $800 from RIOT alone doing weekly trades. But we'll have to see how that goes. We'll have to see how those trades go, see what we end up in October. But I do think we're going to be beating the 2,363 from this month and the 2,601 from July. I don't know about the 3,000 from August, but you know, who knows what will happen. But anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. That has been me. That has been my monthly update on my income earnings for September. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys hit the like button. Once again, I do this every month. I go over my portfolio. I love being transparent as possible, showing you guys what I'm trading, showing you guys what I'm buying, what I'm selling, what the dividends I'm earning. Not, you know, even my losses, as you guys can see, I've shown my losses, negative 102, negative 1,165 at one point. That was a rough month. That was really a rough month. That was December, I think, or yeah, December of last year. Really rough month, but I show everything. Love to show all my trades, all my moves. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys next week for the video where we're going to be talking about some interesting stuff. Where maybe we'll talk about the, you know, dividend ETF I have decided to invest to, or maybe another strategy. We'll have to see. But I'll see you guys next week for the video as always. Thank you so much for liking. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time.